Welcome back to a new JPK video. This time, I'm out with my good friend Ben, venturing to some amazing coastline. We see epic schools of fish, encounter some incredible sea life, and finish the day with a delicious cook-up on the beach, with the waves gently lapping on the shore. I hope you enjoyed the video, folks. So today we are back out on the beautiful South Devon coast. We have a full day on the water. It's about 10 o'clock. We're yesterday it was extremely windy, so we're kind of hoping there might be some visibility about still. Doesn't look too bad in the water. Interesting conditions, very, very small tides. We're on neaps at the moment, and the range of tide is about 2 meters, if that, because there's quite low pressure as well. So we're going to jump in here at our first mark, have a quick look for some plaice, see if they've got any fatter, because we're in May now, and then we're just going to venture along the coastline looking for maybe some lobsters, some bass, because I'm really enjoying having some seafood back in the freezer and fridge. What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, I'm going.
You up for it?
Yeah, my fridge is emptier than yours.
Let's see how we go. Jumping in the water, I'm pleasantly surprised to see the visibility is pretty good. Despite being really rough for the past day, neap tides are our saviour, and the small currents mean that the water clarity is held up pretty well. In a few moments, I encounter this incredible octopus on the bottom. He quickly changes colour to blend in with his surroundings even more, puffing himself out. Absolutely incredible display.
In 10 years of diving UK waters, I've just seen my first octopus, and it was huge. It was an absolute whopper. So yeah, that was really, really cool. I think I was filming as well.
The next few dives though, I'm only greeted with a barren desert. I would normally expect to see plaice here, but possibly due to the very, very small currents, there are fewer fish in this location where I'd expect to see them. So off we go to the next dive mark.
We've come about 5 miles around the corner because it was quite a big swell over on that side, so we've come east and there's loads and loads of birds here. So I've just kind of pulled the boat up and there's a lot of life in the water. I'm not sure if it's mackerel or bass, maybe both. Definitely going to jump in and see what's there.
When you come out with JPK, fish try and jump in the boat. They don't even bother going in. They find him, I think. They're jumping out of the water.
If only it were always like this, Ben. The truth is, moments like this are rare and special, and you just have to seize them. We decided to dive down right below where the fish were jumping out of the water and the birds were smashing the bait that were being pushed up. I tucked myself into the kelp here on the edge of the gully, and quite quickly bass start to drift in. Breathing up for my next dive, I can see fish from the surface, and they're a good size too. You know, when you can see this many fish on the surface, you're in for a spectacular dive. I drop down, free falling as much of the way as possible not to spook the shoal, taking a position on the bottom here, and hundreds of bass cruising around me. On about my 5th dive, I drop slightly deeper where the kelp is starting to thin out on the rocks. I take a position in a gully and decide that this time I'm going to try and take a fish.
So that was a really cool experience. I dived down and the kelp's kind of thinning out as I reached 15 meters, and there's mussel beds and there's a ridge to my right, and this huge school of bass swims over the ridge, and they're over the top of me, and this one standout fish comes through the school, and love it when you get a perfect shot. The fish doesn't feel any pain. Lights out.
And talking about lights out, just like a light switch, the tide had ebbed and the visibility went from about 5 meters to a very green and gloomy 3 meters or less. It was shocking all of a sudden. The water's filled with particles and silt, so it was time to move on to the next location.
So after an incredibly batty few dives, we've decided to come into the rocks to look for a few lobsters, maybe a few spiders. The only problem is here, the bottom is really muddy. Yesterday it was blowing 25 knots, and so clarity definitely does look like it's taken a hit. We're going to try for lobsters and crabs, but it could be tricky. We will see. Ben's found a lobster while I've been faffing about on the boat. It is a small male. Now, I think this will be just undersized, personally, but I'm going to check with the old foraging gauge. So these foraging gauges are really useful. You can use them to measure scallops, brown crabs, spider crabs and lobsters. So we'll measure up the lobster from the back of the eye socket to the end of the carapace. As you can see, it's just undersized by about 3 or 4 millimeters. So he goes back for another day. But well done, Ben, finding that beauty in about 5 minutes. See you later, mate.
I finally get my weight belt, mask and fins back on. It's my turn to jump in. I dive to the base of this boulder using my torch, trying to peek through the murk into all of these cracks and crevices, looking for any sign of claw of a crab or lobster. The conditions here are quite difficult for crustacean hunting. It's really surgy, the vis is poor, but we persevere on. I know this area so well, before long I'm able to find a crack which I know usually holds a really good lobster. And I'm not surprised to see a really decent lobster in this crevice. However, looking at the colour of the lobster and the way it's curled up right in the back of this hole, I'm pretty sure this is a female and she's probably carrying eggs, so I just leave her to it. I creep further along the reef and notice some good-sized female spider crabs here. A few more fin strokes on, I come round the corner and find something else I've been really hoping to find. A big male spider crab. You can see how much bigger this was than the females, giant claws packed full of sweet white crab meat.
hunkered right up to the rocks, I found this lovely spider. It's a very, very aggressive male, very, very angry. I don't think he's bred yet. So these spiders come into the shallows in the spring to breed. And he was kind of hunkered down against the rock because it's been very stormy here recently. He was covered in dust and silt, but he's going to have loads and loads of meat in these claws, in all of these claws. Whoa.
That should have got him.
Lovely.
Nuts. Dead man's fingers. We'll get rid of all of that in the drink. And we have two.
That's ready for going on the fire.
Yep. Out.
Ben, how did you learn this technique of
Oh, watch this guy on YouTube. What's his name? I can't remember his name. Really sticks in you once you remember it normally. Oh, Joe PK.
We've actually made a bit of a kitchen here, as you can see. So we split the spider crab in half. We're going to grill that in front of the fire. We're going to fry some bass fillets, and then have a side of ratatouille with it all, and some scallops as well. So big seafood feast, basically. You can see at this time of year the roe is excellent. Later in the year, September, not so good. The boat's trying to join us. Cut across there, and then you can grab the black stomach, pull everything away, and then you're pretty much left with the good stuff. Yeah, you'll definitely not be wasting the roe today. That is absolutely premium. Ratatouille is pretty much cooked. I'm just going to put these scallops in right at the end. Pretty fresh, seeing as they were in the sea 20 minutes ago. It smells good, Ben.
That's a good job.
Now, when bass is really fresh, it does kind of flake up like this. Mr. Ben, there you go.
Thank you.
With the spider crab. Just going to twist these joints off, and there's just packed with meat. The meat goes in the garlic butter. Oh. That is heaven.
I hope you enjoyed this instalment of Joe PK underwater foraging, cooking on the beach. If you do want to see more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you on the next episode.
How was it?
Oh.
It's so good.
So good.
That's naughty, isn't it?
It is a little bit.
Wow, wow.